What's up, guys? We are micro printing, micro stacking, micro making that bread. We took a trade on Microsoft, okay? So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I made 2K in about 2 days trading options on Microsoft. I'm going to break down the trade, show you guys a little bit of an analysis. I can't give you too much sauce because that's in, most of that's in my mentorship, but I'll give you guys a little bit of something. You can take away some value from this video. And then if you want to get deeper into it, you can always check out my Discord and my mentorship and all that. But let's get right into it. So this is the trade, right? This is Microsoft, this massive rally here. This is what I caught. Now you might be asking, like, Mike, how'd you know this was going to rally like this? How'd you catch this? How do you do what you do? Um, and here's the proof too. This is the trade I took. These were Microsoft 425 calls expiring actually on the 29th. So I had time on these. I did take the profit because I don't want to be greedy, guys. Bears make money. Bulls make money. Pigs, they get slaughtered, right? I don't want to be a pig. So, if I'm happy with the gains, I'm just going to take it. It's good risk to reward. I'm going to take it, right? Especially if I think we're going to stall out or get any kind of reversal. So I hit my target here. We actually went beyond 425. We went to like 427, 428, right? So really baller trade, really good execution, really good targets. And like I said, there's plenty of time on these contracts. I could have held these even longer if I want to be greedy, but that's just not for me. I don't like to be greedy. I just like to hit my targets and get out, take my money, right? So that was the trade. I know it's a little bit under 2,000, but it did go up a little bit more after I took the screenshot, and it did amount to about 2,000. So, if you guys are wondering that, don't worry, I'm not misleading with the title. But let's get right into it. So, this is that same rally. This is on Thinkorswim. This is my preferred charting platform. I know a lot of you guys like like TradingView, but I'm a big fan of Thinkorswim. I think this is just a better charting platform for multiple reasons. Some of those reasons you'll find out, within my mentorship. But let's get right into it. So, like, what can we first, notice about, Microsoft here? Well, if we go on a higher time frame, we can see we've been on a consistent downtrend, right? We've just been selling off, selling off, selling off. And what did we get here on the day that I entered? Well, we got a nice little break of structure, right? We broke those previous highs and we're breaking structure, right? So some people might call this a trend line break, whatever you want to call it, right? Like there's different names for it. I just refer to this as a break of structure because that's what it is to me, right? But more importantly, we have a nice little inversion here. This is on a 15-minute little inversion here. If you don't know what inversions are, if you want to learn more about that, like I said, you can check out my mentorship. I'll teach you all about that and how to use them, when to use them, and what time frames to look at, right? But nice little inversion here. That's a nice confluence. But more importantly, um, Microsoft actually showed up on my scanner for the options, right? And I can't get too deep into that, how I use that, because that's all my mentorship. But basically, I have a scanner that scans the options contracts for, anomalies and, things that are unusual, and will basically let me know when there's some kind of institutional order flow occurring within the options market, right? And this is a major edge because this allows me to sniff out things like this before they actually happen, right? Whenever you try to play a breakout or a breakdown, right? If you don't have, um, if you don't have the options, I guess, scanner backing that up, then it's not gonna be a breakout with intention, right? It's gonna be a false breakout, in my opinion, right? So you always want to have, um, you know, basically the option scanner backing you, right? So again, I can't get too deep into what I look at on the option scanner because that falls into Masterclass, right? So, but I'll just let you guys know that having a scanner for the options market is invaluable and insanely useful, right? Because it's how you catch breakouts like this. But anyways, we had this nice little inversion. It popped up on my scanner. And doing some quick analysis on the chart, and based on the volume profile and some other things I was looking at, I decided this was a good trade for me, and I took it. So I actually entered the day prior, and we did get a pullback from where I entered, and I was actually down like 20% on these contracts by the end of the day. And I wasn't worried because I'm following my plan, I'm following my system, and I understand my edge, right? And I know that we're gonna get something like this, right, the next day or eventually, right? So a little bit of pullback doesn't scare me. A lot of people get freaked out by a pullback as soon as they enter a trade, but if you have a system, if you have a defined system and, you know, a setup that you follow, then you stick to the setup until it's invalidated, right? And so for me, even though we pulled back, the setup didn't get validated. So I stayed in the trade and I was well rewarded for doing so, right? So the next day, Microsoft opens up above previous high, and then we just get this insane rally at the open. We just start basically mooning. You know, like Bill Gates himself came in and decided to buy the stock. We went from, you know, 412 all the way up to like 428 within a day, which is, I want to say, let me see, it's about a 3% move intraday. Let me measure this again. Yeah, 3.88%, which is pretty healthy for a stock, especially for a blue cap, right? And so that's how I was able to like get these contracts to pump up like 80% intraday, even though they had plenty of time on them, right? You guys have to excuse my voice. I'm actually kind of sick right now, so I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit here, but I'll do my best for you guys to still do this analysis. But anyways, that was the trade that I took. Like I said, there was still time on these contracts. I could have held them, but honestly, I like the TP and the strength. So once we get a move like this, I just take the profit. Even though we went a little bit higher, I don't really care. We didn't, you know, eventually get a nice pullback here. And this may go even further, right? But here's the thing is I can always re-enter this trade, right? You know, if I secure my profits and we do get like a reversal or a major pullback, then I'm just saving myself the pain of having to endure that. And then I can just re-enter on a confirmation of a continuation, right? So that was the trade I took. Um, pretty cut and clean trade. Very minimal drawdown. And like I said, I had plenty of time on this contract, so it's pretty low stress. You know, I like taking swings like that where you know, I have a margin of error that I can play within, where if things don't happen exactly how I expect them, I have time on those contracts to let things play out. So this is just a good example of that. This is one of many trades that I take, and I did actually hint this within my my mentorship. Um, in the morning before we actually got the rally, I was letting people know like Microsoft is ripping, not a signal. The reason I do that is I used to do signals, but I don't do them anymore. So I'm not going to tell you guys what strike and, you know, what expiration to buy and things like that. I don't believe in doing signals anymore. So I just don't do them. But I will sometimes give hints out to you guys for trade ideas. So, you know, I might give you a hint and then you can make your own analysis and go look at what I mentioned and decide if you want to take a trade on that, right? But I won't do signals. I will sometimes give hints. And I feel like that's better because it allows the students to make their own analysis instead of just trying to, you know, copy and paste what I'm doing, right? Make your own analysis and actually learn, you know, based off that, and that in return makes you a better trader, right? Just copying somebody is not going to make you a better trader. You know, making your own analysis and own assessment of something and then picking the decision will, you know, make you better, right? So that was a trade, you know, nice little snack on Microsoft, posted it within my Discord. This is actually when it was just starting to run up. And then later on, like I said, it went up more and more. So if you guys like this type of content, you know, make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you guys would like to see next. And if you're interested in getting mentored by me and learning more about my techniques and how I find trades like this and the real sauce, you can contact me on Discord or on WAP and, you know, express your interest within for the mentorship, and I can get you set up with that and answer any questions that you have. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Peace.